Bridging the gap with the Middle East, President Trump speaking with leaders from Qatar, Afghanistan, Kuwait, and Iraq over the phone today, and he's promising positive changes. Take a listen.
We just had talks with Qatar and a couple of countries. Afghanistan, I would say that that's a tough situation, but we'll do something about it. We're going to have some good conversations with other world leaders over the next 2 hours. A lot of things are happening, a lot of positive things.
Here now is Ambassador John Bolton, former U.S. ambassador to the UN and Fox News contributor. What do you think those phone conversations were about, Ambassador? What went on in your estimation?
Sure, that they involved discussions, Iraq and Afghanistan, obviously the ongoing conflicts there, Kuwait and Qatar, two places where there are substantial deployed American forces, two critical oil and natural gas producers, members of the Gulf Cooperation Council, real key players in the Middle East. And I think this is part of the expected series of calls that the president will have. Perhaps he spoke with these leaders in the transition and had courtesy calls with them, but these would be more substantive, and it sounds like this is the business of the president working his way into key national security issues. Yeah,
here we are. I mean, we're only, right here on the third week, and people are already complaining about what it is they're not hearing enough about. And on that list is Afghanistan, that he's not paying enough attention to what's going on there. What do you think of that criticism?
Well, I think it's misguided. I mean, I don't know what percentage of his time he's been spending in briefings and conversations about Afghanistan. We know in the case of the fight against ISIS, he's asked the Pentagon for alternative war plans. I think any new administration is well advised, both in the transition and in the weeks right afterward, to review what's been going on, to get the facts on the ground. It's one thing to know what you've heard from the press or even the classified briefings the president gets during the campaign. It's quite another thing to get into it in a real deep dive. Administrations in the past have taken advantage of this time to formulate their policy and, to think about it before they open their mouths and insert their foot. So it doesn't bother me that we haven't had extensive briefings from the president. Let's let him get familiar with this material, which is important, has a long history. Yeah. And when he's ready, he'll speak publicly.
And we're also awaiting the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals decision on the immigration ban, but the ruling could be released at any time. This is we get new polls from abroad. So a staggering 55% of Europeans from 10 different countries agree that Muslim immigration should be stopped. This is according to a survey from Chatham House. I mean, I don't know. I always have my doubts about these polls because it's all in the way the question is asked. But at the same time, there were people looking at this saying, this is how people who've gone through it feel. What do you make of it?
Yeah, the poll is broken down country by country in Europe, and I have to say, having looked at the top-line numbers, they strike me as about what I would expect country by country. It varies across the European Union. It's far more sweeping a ban, a total Muslim ban, according to the question, than we're considering here, that Trump is considering here, that anybody's advocating here. But I think what it shows is the concern that many people have at kind of a visceral level, that it's not that they oppose Islam, it's that they just think, they ought to be able to determine who comes into their own countries. And I think it's entirely possible to hold the view, I certainly hold it for America, that I'd like to see substantially more immigration into this country. I think we benefit. But I also believe we have the absolute right to determine who that is. Yeah. And they don't get to determine it, we determine it. And I think you see that reflected in this poll, and you've seen it reflected in election results all over Europe, with some significant elections in France and Germany and Italy to come in the near future.
Ambassador Bolton, as always, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Melissa.